Good evening. This is the special board meeting of Monday, November 20th, 2023. We will not be doing O Canada at the special board meeting, but it will happen before at our organizational meeting, which happens directly after this special board meeting. So, in calling this meeting to order, I am, and in spirit of truth and reconciliation, and as recognizing as a settler on this land, the Durham District School Board acknowledges that many Indigenous nations have long-standing relationships, both historic and modern, with the territories upon which our school boards and schools are located. Today, this area is home to many Indigenous peoples from across Turtle Island. We acknowledge that the Durham region forms a part of the traditional untreated territories of the Mississaugas of Scugog Island First Nation, the Mississaugas peoples, and the treated territory of the Chippewas of Georgina Island First Nation. It is on these ancestral and treaty lands that we teach, learn, and live. Do we have any declarations of interest? Hearing none, there's no declarations declared at this time. We have the adoption of the agenda. Can I have a motion to adopt the agenda as presented? Trustee Cunningham, Trustee Brown, all those in favor? Opposed? The agenda is adopted as presented. Moving on to item 5A, recommended actions. We are going to pass it on to Associate Director Wright to the financial process and the financial statements.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Good evening, everyone. It's my pleasure to welcome and introduce Melissa Durward, Senior Manager of Finance, who will present the report to you this evening.
Thank you, and through you, Chair. The purpose of the report this evening is to present the 2022-2023 financial statements and to seek approval of these statements with the recommendation from the Audit Committee. In the report, we lay out the financial process of the board, including the three main layers of financial governance and oversight, those being the Education Finance Committee, the Audit Committee, and the Board of Trustees, and these are also supported by senior management and the auditors. This report tonight ends the financial cycle for the board for the 2022-2023 fiscal year, and these financial results will help to inform the budget process that will begin the next cycle for the 2024-2025 school year. Attached as Appendix A to report this evening are the draft audited consolidated financial statements for the year ended August 31st, 2023. I'm pleased to report there's a clean audit opinion again this year. A few things to point out in the statements this evening. In the consolidated statement of financial position, you'll see a new line this year, the asset retirement obligation liability. This is a new accounting standard that public bodies were required to implement this year. And what it represents is the liability to retire the tangible capital assets of the board at their end of life. The liability for the Durham District School Board was $33 million at August 31st, 2023. On the consolidated statement of operations and accumulated surplus, you'll see the annual revenue for the board, $997.6 million. Total expenses for the year, $987.8 million, with the board ending in a strong financial position for the year. In Section 8 of the report this evening, you will find the recommendation. Happy to take any questions.
Any questions from trustees around the financial audited statement? Seeing none, the recommendation, as I said, can be found on page 5, and it's a recommendation that the Board of Trustees approve the 2022-2023 audited financial statement of Durham School Board, including the transfers to and from internally restricted funds. Can I have that motion? Trustee Morton, seconder. Trustee Arsenault. All those in favor? Opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you very much, Melissa, for presenting the report. Second item is information items. Moving on to item 6, we have the audit committee meeting summary. Again, I'm going to pass it on to Associate David Wright.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. The business of the meeting is summarized in section 4 of the report on page 50 of your package. The great bulk of the business of that meeting was the presentation of the report that Melissa just presented to you now. If you have any questions or comments about the meeting, happy to take them through you. Thanks.
Any questions from trustees around the audit committee summary report? Seeing none. Moving then, thank you very much for that, Associate Director Wright. And again, moving on to the item C, which is the audit committee external members, terms of appointment. And again, I will pass that over to you, Associate Director Wright.
Thank you again, Madam Chair. Ontario Regulation 36110 outlines the terms of appointment for audit committee members in Ontario. Audit committees of school boards are comprised of both trustee members and external community members who have financial expertise or financial background. External community members serve 3-year terms, and one of our current external community members has a term that will be expiring in February. And so leading up to the expiration of that term, we will be posting and advertising, recruiting to backfill that position. The timeline is included in section 4 of the report on page 52 of your package. And ultimately, it will come to the Board of Trustees to recommend the appointment of this new external community member. Happy to answer any questions through you. Thank you.
Any questions around the audit committee members' appointment? Trustee Morton.
I do not have a question. I just want to say a big thank you to Associate Director Wright, Melissa Durwood, and the entire team for bringing forth these reports.
Thank you, Trustee Morton, for bringing that. And it is really a pleasure as well to have clean audited statements again, and it shows the caliber of our staffs. So any other questions on the process? Seeing none, thank you very much, Associate Director Wright. So that we come to the end of our this agenda. The next meeting will be the organizational meeting. So as the agenda has been completed, I have a motion to adjourn. Thank you. Trustee Pinello. Oh, I'm not going to ask all in favor. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to the 2024 organizational meeting for the Durham District School Board. This evening, I will be the presiding officer until the point in the agenda where we elect the chair for the incoming year. I'd like to begin this meeting with our land acknowledgement. The Durham District School Board acknowledges that many Indigenous nations have long-standing relationships, both historic and modern, with the territories upon which our school board and schools are located. Today, this area is home to many Indigenous peoples from across Turtle Island. We acknowledge that the Durham region forms a part of the traditional and treaty territory of the Mississaugas of Scugog Island First Nation, the Mississauga peoples, and the treaty territory of the Chippewas of Georgina Island First Nation. It is on these ancestral and treaty lands that we teach, learn, and live. And now I will invite Trustee Brown, Whitby Trustee, to introduce the Glendew Public School Junior Intermediate Choir, and Trustee Arsenault will thank at the end. Trustee Brown.
Thank you. Please join me in welcoming the Glendew Public School Junior Intermediate Choir. Choir members are in grade 4 to 8 and are conducted by teachers Emily Parliament and Jennifer Templeton, Principal Louise DeHaas, and Vice Principal Melanie Prodan. As also in attendance this evening, we extend a warm welcome to you all. In addition to O Canada, the Glendew Choir will be singing Nothing's Gonna Stop Me, a bluesy and powerful song about inner strength and a deep determination to succeed, composed by Pink Zebra. I would ask that who are able to join us in standing for O Canada.
Love in all of us command. My sincere thank you to Emily Parliament, Jennifer Templeton for their dedication and encouragement and instruction of music in our schools. Our gratitude to the students here tonight. Having your presence makes this evening all the more special having you here. Thank you.
We'll take a short recess to allow the students and their families to vacate the room. Are there any declarations of interest? Seeing none, I'll move to the adoption of the agenda. The agenda has been provided. May I get someone to move the agenda? Trustee Oldfield, seconded. Trustee Linton. Are there any objections to the agenda? Seeing none, the agenda is approved. First item on the agenda is the election of the chair. In the interest of addressing my voice and lack thereof, I will ask our executive officer to read through the rules for the election of the chair, at which time I'll resume the seat to orchestrate and execute the election of the chair. Over to you, Executive Officer Surjanic.
Thank you. The election of the chair will be conducted under Board Bylaw 3.31. The Chief Executive Officer / Secretary of the Board shall conduct the election, and the elected chair will conduct the remainder of the elections for the Board. When two or more trustees are nominated and agree to stand, each shall be given an opportunity to speak to their candidacy, and then voting shall begin by use of the confidential polling system. The member receiving a majority vote of the members present and voting shall be declared the chair. Voting will take place by a confidential polling system. A clear majority is 50% plus one of members present and voting. As there are currently 11 members present, and should every member vote, a majority vote in that situation would be 6. In the event of more than 2 candidates and no candidate has a majority of votes, the candidate with the fewest number of votes will be dropped from the ballot and another vote will take place. In the event that there are 2 candidates and there is now a tie, a second vote will take place, and after that, if there is still a tie, then there will be a drawing of lots to determine who the successful candidate will be. Turn it back over to you, Director Williams-Taylor.
Thank you, Executive Lead Surjanic. I've asked Executive Lead Robert Surjanic, General Counsel Patrick Cotter, and Student Trustee Cameron to serve alongside me as arbiters in terms of looking at the polled votes. I will go forward once the votes are confirmed. I'll now open nominations for the position of Chair of the Board. Self-nominations are welcome, along with nominations. At this time, nominations are open. Okay, Trustee Kelly.
Thank you. I'd like to nominate Trustee Edwards for this position of chair.
Trustee Edwards, do you accept the nomination?
I accept the nomination.
Trustee Brown?
I would like to nominate Trustee Thatcher.
Trustee Thatcher, do you accept the nomination?
I accept the nomination. Thank you.
The nominations are still open. Is there a further nomination? Third time, the nominations are open. With that, we'll close the nominations. We have 2 trustees up for nomination for chair of the board, Trustee Thatcher and Trustee Edwards. Given that we have 2 trustees up for nomination, they each have an opportunity to speak. Trustees, would you wish to speak? Trustee Edwards, do you wish to speak? Go ahead. You have to press your button.
Thank you, Trustee Miller, for your nomination and basically a nomination of confidence. For the past year, I have fulfilled the duties of chair as outlined in the Ministry's Good Governance Guide and our bylaws. I've presided over the board meetings in a fair and impartial manner and conducted them in accordance with our bylaws, while endeavoring to ensure issues are separated from individuals. I've established board agendas in consultation with the director and the 3 other trustees who attend the agenda planning meetings. I've acted as a spokesperson for the board when required, guided the board of trustees while maintaining a focus on the strategic plan, missions, and values, and when asked, to provide guidance to individual trustees. I've also shared with the board communications information received by the chair in a timely manner. Trustees running for the position of chair must understand the significant time commitment required for the role. I've fulfilled the duties of the DDSB chair, which are not outlined in the Good Governance Guide. I've attended Durham Student Transportation Services governance meetings, Ignite Durham Learning Foundation board and governance meetings, ministers' calls, expulsion hearings, served on various award committees, and where possible, filled in as alternate for trustees. In addition, I continue to fill my duties as a trustee representing the town of Ajax while having attended approximately 98% of the board and committee meetings. I recognize that I don't represent Ajax alone. I am thankful to, value, respect, and have trust in Trustee Miller as the other trustee representative in Ajax. We work collaboratively with staff to address the concerns of parents and students that reside in Ajax. I've conducted myself in the role of chair with a clear understanding that as chair, I may not act unilaterally, and that I'm an individual trustee with no greater rights or powers than any other trustee on this board. I work to ensure student achievement and student and staff well-being was at the forefront of decision-making. But you might recall, or you might not, that this is my first time fulfilling the role of chair of the board. Although I've had a clear understanding of the role, the board has had to deal with situations never before experienced. I can say that I've gained insight into the role, and if anything, a respect for previous chairs in balancing these responsibilities. Although we have not completed a board assessment as of yet, I've reflected on the Board of Trustees' actions as well as my own over the past year. I recognize that I have areas of growth, and so does the Board of Trustees. As a board, we are still in a stage where we're getting to know each other, backgrounds, experience, and skill sets. Again, the chair has no greater power than any other trustee on this board. It is up to us collectively to define how we work together. If re-elected as chair, I look forward to working better together as a team. I would like to work more collectively in taking responsibility and identifying the gaps, addressing the situations that arise, and strive to build a strong team dynamics. A team that better recognizes each other's diverse backgrounds, experiences, and knowledges, that leads to rich discussions and informed decisions that support student achievement and well-being, as well as our new strategic plan that is being developed. And I thank Trustee Millie again for my nomination.
Thank you, Trustee Edwards. Trustee Thatcher.
Thank you, Director. Thank you for being here tonight as we come together to reflect on our achievements of the past year, and more importantly, to chart the course for the opportunities and challenges that lie ahead. It is both an honor and a pleasure to stand before you as a candidate for the position of Chair of the Durham District School Board. As many of you know, my journey in education and service to our communities has been one of dedication, passion, and unwavering commitment to making a positive impact in the lives of our students. With experience spanning both the public and private sectors, I bring a comprehensive understanding of the diverse landscape that defines our educational system. I stand before you not just as a school board trustee, but as a mother, a grandmother, a coach, and a teacher. Those roles have given me firsthand insight into the daily challenges faced by parents, the aspirations of our students, and the invaluable role that teachers play in shaping young minds. I understand and value the importance of student, parent, and community voice in guiding our decisions. Fundamental to my belief system is the conviction that the core principles of teamwork, human rights, and collective drive to benefit the whole community should be at the heart of our work as trustees. Our schools are not just buildings of education. They are vibrant communities where our children grow, learn, and prepare for their futures. To ensure that every student receives a high-quality education, we must work collaboratively, leveraging the strengths and ideas of all stakeholders: parents, teachers, students, and community members. If elected as chair, I am committed to fostering an environment of collaboration where every voice and perspective is not only welcomed, but actively sought. Our schools must be places where diversity is not just acknowledged, but celebrated and valued. I understand the challenges that the Durham District School Board faces, particularly as one of the fastest growing boards in the province. With growth come new challenges, but it also presents opportunities for innovation. I am committed to guiding this growth with informed, evidence-based data, effective policies, transparency, and accountability to drive positive change. In conclusion, I humbly ask for your trust, your support, and your vote for chair of the DDSB. Together, we can forge a path forwards and more inclusive and sustainable education system. Let us embrace the power of teamwork, champion human rights, and work tirelessly for the collective whole. Our shared commitment to the betterment of education will undoubtedly lead us to a brighter future for our students and the community. Thank you, and let us embark on this journey together.
Thank you, Trustee Thatcher. At this point, we'll undertake the vote. The two nominees are Trustee Thatcher and Trustee Edwards. And I believe that all trustees, you have had their instructions about voting on your Zoom accounts. So I'm going to leave it at this point to Student Trustee Cameron, Executive Lead Sir Janik, and Legal Counsel Cotter to supervise the vote, and they will convey to me the winner, at which point I will announce the winner and cede the seat to the new chair. At this point, I'm informed that we have a tie vote, and so we will call the vote again. Would you please go back into your accounts and vote a second time? As we again have a tied vote, we will now proceed with drawing straws. 2 straws will be drawn. The long straw will win. And Executive Officer Surjanic and Council Cotter, if I could ask both trustees to go over, please, and we'll draw straws. Congratulations to Trustee Thatcher, who is now the new chair for the upcoming school year. Trustee Thatcher, I will cede the seat to you. Rather, Chair Thatcher, I should say.
Thank you. Firstly, on behalf of the Durham District School Board of Trustees, I would like to thank Chair Edwards for the work of the last year and express my appreciation for the opportunity to serve you in the year ahead. We will now move forward with the agenda, beginning with the election of Vice Chair of the Board of Trustees. I will now open nominations. Nominations for the Vice Chair of the Board of Trustees. Trustee Cunningham.
Thank you. I would like to self-nominate.
All right, thank you. So Trustee Cunningham has self-nominated for the position of Vice Chair of the Durham Board. Trustee Miller.
Thank you. I would like to nominate Trustee, oh my God.
Sorry?
My brain went blank. I would like to nominate Trustee Morton. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Miller. Trustee Morton, will you accept the nomination for Vice Chair of the Board? Trustee Brown.
Thank you. I would like to nominate Trustee Oldfield.
That was Trustee Oldfield. Thank you. Trustee Oldfield, will you accept the nomination?
I will. I'll stand with thanks to my nominator.
Thank you. So I will ask, are there any further nominations for Vice Chair of the Board? And a second time, are there any further nominations for Vice Chair of the Board? I will ask a first time, and if there are no further nominations, I'll declare the nominations closed. We will now proceed with the voting by the confidential polling system. And thank you very much, Trustee Morton. And I think that it's the usual procedure for us to move in alphabetical order. So I'm going to call on Trustee Cunningham.
Thank you. It has been both an honor and a privilege to serve as the Vice Chair of the Standing Committee, and I would love to extend this experience to the broader responsibilities as Vice Chair of the DDSB. I've been lucky to learn quite a bit over this past year. It's been a very different year than I anticipated when I put my name forward for election. We've spent a lot of time this past year advocating for human rights and equity, and I think that's going to continue to be a theme as we move forward into 2024. I stepped into the challenge of a leadership role as Vice Chair Standing Committee, and I believe I've been successful there. One of the reasons that I feel qualified to run for Vice Chair, even as a first-term trustee, is that I've been lucky to be mentored by experienced trustees. I've had the opportunity to chair the in-camera meetings of the Standing Committee for the past year, and I've done so with fairness and effectiveness, ensuring that everyone has a chance to speak and that everyone's voices are heard. I've maintained order and usually kept us on schedule. I've been able to navigate complex issues and keep a positive work environment in the room, even when discussing issues that spark deeply personal and opposing feelings. I've displayed passion for the board's mission by attending all professional development sessions and requesting additional sessions through OPSPA and other external providers. I've also worked hard this year to strengthen the board's relationship with other elected officials. As the Pickering trustee, I'm in regular contact with both Pickering City Council and our MPP's office. I'd like to expand that by reaching out to elected officials across the region to work in partnership on shared goals. Too often, we as trustees are put in the position of maintaining a status quo or to do things in a certain way because that's just how they've always been done. As the last year has shown us, that cannot always be the case. As Vice Chair, I can reassure you that I will make sure we are empowered to make the right decisions for us as trustees and for the students, and not just for what's expected. I'm making a commitment in 2024 to advocate for student learning and mental health, but also to tackle challenges like addressing violence and bullying within our schools, advocating for increased funding for children with exceptional needs, and equitable access to specialized programs, courses, and schools within our board. No matter what the outcome is of this organizational meeting, I promise to work as hard as I can to get things done to ignite learning for our students. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Cunningham. And now I'd like to call on Trustee Morton.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Over the past 13 years, I feel that I have demonstrated the passion, the dedication, the vision, and the commitment required to effectively carry out our mandate of providing good governance to the Durham District School Board. Our initiatives are all focused on the central goals of improving student achievement and promoting student physical, emotional, and mental well-being. Creating a safe, welcoming learning environment where our youth and our staff feel fully engaged, feel valued as individuals, and are challenged to be the best they can be has always been a prime objective of our board. As we concentrate on equity and diversity, we need to demonstrate that we, the DDSB, are welcoming, accepting, and inclusive of our entire school community. We are cognizant of our responsibility to be strong leaders and role models. I am thrilled that our board is working collaboratively to build capacity and to promote a culture of growth, respect, and teamwork. Our goal is to create the best possible learning and growing environment for our youth and for our staff, where all will thrive, all will flourish. I've learned much and gleaned many insights from my roles as chair, vice chair, chair of finance, my teamwork on the SAL committee, and of course my active participation in many ad hoc committees. However, I still have much to learn, as this pathway is constantly evolving and changing. I'm an educator. In fact, I'm a very proud educator. But that also means that I don't come to the trustee table with the business acumen, the legal expertise, and the governance experience that some of you bring to the table. With our varied backgrounds, we come to this role with many different skill sets and knowledge bases. All are required to carry out our work in providing good governance. So if you support me in this endeavor, it will be all hands on deck and full steam ahead as we work collaboratively and cooperatively to carry out the critical work of the Durham District School Board. Together, let us ignite learning. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Morton. I'd like to call on Trustee Oldfield.
Thank you. I'm going to be brief because I don't think that prepared speech is required. I've been working with you all for the past year. Last year, certainly it was helpful when we all showed up here and none of us knew each other. But I hope that your decision is based on the person that you've seen me be here at this table. I've been able to take on difficult challenges, to be able to speak up when there are difficult decisions to be put before the board. And in addition to that, I've also been able to achieve the goals, or some of the goals that I set for myself when I became trustee. So one of the things I had wanted to do, besides sit on SEAC, SAL, and OPSPA, was to be able to start to look at violence in schools. And because I was able to work with this board actually did move a motion to create the Ad hoc Violence in Schools Committee. In addition to that, I felt passionately about school community gardens and was able to work with staff to be able to, I'm happy to say, over the next 2 years, be able to start to put in 139 new gardens across the district. So if you elect me as chair, what I can commit to you is I'll bring that same dedication to that position. When I set goals, I set out to achieve them. And those goals have to be a collaboration from around this table. That wouldn't be my goals. They have to be goals set by this group. And although we have achieved quite a lot, and it certainly has been a challenging year, that's for sure, I think that one of the things that I would like to see is to continue to work on the communication between staff, trustees, amongst trustees, and to build that relationship so that we can work together. When we talk about working together as a team, that is one of the crucial points that is required to be able to work that way, is to be able to have open communication so that the board and staff and all of us are aware of what's happening. So that's my commitment to you as vice chair, if you so choose to elect me, and thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Oldfield. We will now proceed with the voting by confidential polling system. Yeah. Trustee Pinello, did you wish to speak?
Yes, thank you, Chair Thatcher. Point of personal privilege. She's no longer here, but Trustee Stone has been making comments this entire time that have been very rude and disrespectful to other trustees who have been speaking. And it's also making it very hard for me to listen to what folks are saying. So if we could just remind trustees what decorum actually looks like, that would be wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We'll now proceed to...
Chair Thatcher, if I might.
Yes.
Under the board's
Councillor.
bylaws, when a point of personal privilege is raised, you should decide and either to take action or not. I'm just not sure that what the remedy is for the point that Trustee Pinello has raised.
All right, thank you. Trustee Pinello, and what I was actually wondering is if it would be agreeable with you to move you to a location down at this end of the...
Thank you, Chair. I would rather not move. I don't think that's necessary. I think we're all adults and capable of being respectful of one another. I just think a general reminder would be beneficial.
Thank you. I will do that.
People are putting themselves forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Cotter.
Trustees, the voting is open, so I'd like to remind trustees, any trustees who have not voted yet, that the vote is in front of you still, and that you still have an opportunity to vote. Trustees, I'd like to remind you that voting still remains open.
Thank you very much. We now have one trustee who will fall off the ballot. That's Trustee Cunningham. Thank you very much, Emma. And we have a tie between Trustee Morton and Trustee Oldfield, and we'll go back for the second time.
Madam Chair, there is no tie. It was just a drop of the lowest vote, and we now retake the vote with the two remaining trustees.
Didn't say tie. Okay. Thank you. There is no majority, so we'll go back to vote a second time. It's between Trustee Morton and Trustee Oldfield.
I'd like to remind trustees, voting still remains open. Thank you.
Do we have something? Thank you. We have a winner, and I'd like to congratulate Trustee Oldfield, who is the Vice Chair of the Board of Trustees. Before we move on to the election of Vice Chair, Committee of the Whole Standing, I would just like to say thank you to Trustee Panillo for your reminder for us to ensure that we maintain civility and decorum during our proceedings. We are modeling the behavior expected of leaders, so I will ask that trustees refrain from commentary during our procedure. We'll now proceed with the election of Vice Chair, Committee of the Whole Standing, and I will now open the nominations. Trustee Cunningham?
Thank you. I will self-nominate.
Thank you. Trustee Morton?
I will self-nominate as well.
Thank you. And Trustee Brown?
I too self-nominate.
Thank you. I will ask, are there any further nominations for the position of Vice Chair, Committee of the Whole Standing? Are there any further nominations for this position? I will ask a third time, and if there are no further nominations, we will then ask candidates to speak. Following that, we'll declare the nominations closed. So in alphabetical order, I will call on Trustee Brown.
Thank you. And through you, Chair, as we navigate the challenges of today and anticipate those of tomorrow, I am inspired by potential for growth, collaboration, and positive change. It is with this enthusiasm that I offer my candidacy for Vice Chair standing. With your support, we can work together to achieve great things and bring about a positive change. First and foremost, let me express my appreciation for the incredible work done by the current leadership. They have laid a strong foundation, and I am committed to building upon it with a fresh perspective and new ideas. If elected as Vice Chair standing, my primary focus will be fostering an environment of inclusivity, collaboration, and innovation. I believe that a united team is a formidable force capable of overcoming challenges and seizing opportunities that may come our way. Together, we can build upon our success and navigate the complexities of our ever-evolving landscape. In conclusion, I am not just asking for your vote, I am asking for your partnership. Together, we can take DDSB board to new heights, ensuring that every member is valued, heard, and empowered to contribute to our shared success. Thank you for considering me for this position of Vice Chair standing.
Thank you, Trustee Brown. And we'll now call on Trustee Cunningham.
Thank you. I already had the opportunity to speak, so I think I've said what I wanted to say.
Thank you. And Trustee Morton?
That would be a ditto.
That would be, that's what I thought. Thank you so much. We will now declare the nominations are closed and then move on to proceed with the voting by confidential polling system.
I'd like to remind trustees that the voting remains open. I'd like to remind trustees a second time that voting is still open. To remind trustees a third time that voting is still open. If any trustees are having trouble with the system, please indicate. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have a winner, and I'd like to congratulate Trustee Brown for the position of Vice Chair, Committee of the Whole standing. We'll now open the nominations for the election of Chair of the Education Finance Committee. Trustee Morton?
I would self-nominate.
Trustee Arsenault, did you wish to put forward a nomination?
No, I'm okay.
Thank you. Are there any further nominations for the position of Chair of Finance? And are there any further nominations? I'll ask a third time if there are no further nominations. I will then declare the nominations closed. The nominations are closed, and I would like to acclaim Trustee Morton as Chair of Ed Finance Committee. Congratulations, Trustee Morton. We're now looking for to open nominations for the position of Vice Chair of the Ed Finance Committee. Looking for someone to nominate an individual or someone to self-nominate for the position of Vice Chair of Finance Committee. Trustee Edwards.
I will self-nominate.
Thank you, Trustee Edwards. Are there any further nominations? Are there any further nominations for the position of Vice Chair, Finance? I will ask a third time, and if there are no further nominations, I will declare the nominations closed. I declare the nominations are closed and congratulate Trustee Edwards, who is acclaimed as Vice Chair of Finance. Congratulations, Trustee Edwards. I'd like to open the nominations for the position of Chair of the Governance and Policy Committee. Trustee Cunningham.
Thank you. I will self-nominate.
Thank you. Trustee Miller.
I would like to nominate Trustee Edwards.
Trustee Morton, did you? No. We have two candidates for the position of Chair of Governance and Policy Committee. Trustee Cunningham and Trustee Edwards.
Chair Thatcher, I don't think Trustee Edwards was nominated, but I don't know that you confirmed that she accepted the nomination.
Thank you. Trustee Edwards, will you accept the nomination? We just assumed.
Actually, I'm going to decline. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Cotter. Are there any further nominations? Are there any further nominations? And I will ask a third time, if there are no further nominations, I will declare the nominations closed. So I declare the nominations are closed and asked if Trustee Cunningham or Edwards would like to speak. Oh, did you? Pardon me. I would like to congratulate Trustee Cunningham, who is acclaimed for the Chair of Governance and Policy Committee. I now open the nominations for the position of Vice Chair of the Governance and Policy Committee. Trustee Morton.
I nominate Trustee Miller.
Trustee Miller, will you accept the nomination?
I accept the nomination.
Thank you. Trustee Linton? No? Thank you. Are there any further nominations? Are there any further nominations? And I will ask a third time if there are any further nominations. Seeing none, I declare the nominations closed and congratulate Trustee Miller, who is acclaimed to the position of Vice Chair of the Governance and Policy Committee. We will now move to the statutory and other committees. With respect to the Audit Committee, trustee members are elected for a 2-year term. So the following trustees will continue as Audit Committee trustees members for 2024. Trustee Michelle Arsenault, Trustee Stephen Linton, and Trustee Shailene Panillo. I will now open the nominations for the election of the Special Education Advisory Committee trustees. There are 3 positions available for SEAC, and the nominations are now open. Trustee Miller?
I'd like to self-nominate.
Thank you, Trustee Miller. Trustee Edwards?
I would like to self-nominate.
Are there any further nominations? There are 3 positions available for SEAC, looking for a 3rd candidate. Trustee Oldfield.
I'll self-nominate.
Thank you. As Trustee Edwards and Trustee Oldfield have already spoken, I was wondering, Trustee Miller, if you would like to address your candidacy.
At this time, I'd just like to say that I've really enjoyed the SEAC committee. I like the leadership that we express in the group. I'd love to continue to support and be a liaison to the board and continue to work with the staff and the community members.
Thank you. So I'd like to congratulate then Trustees Miller, Edwards, and Oldfield who will be serving on the SEAC committee. I will now open nominations for election of the Supervised Alternative Learning, the SAL. There are 2 positions for SAL available. Trustee Morton.
I will nominate Trustee Arsenault.
Trustee Arsenault, will you accept the nomination?
I accept. And I'd like to nominate Trustee Morton.
Trustee Morton, will you accept the nomination? Yes. Okay, yes, this is good. All right, we have our 2 positions filled. Are there any further nominations? Are there any further nominations? I will ask a 3rd time if there are any further nominations. And seeing none, I will declare the nominations closed. Congratulations, Trustees Arsenault and Morton. We're now looking for 2 alternative trustees for SAL. Trustee Miller.
I would like to self-nominate.
Thank you, Trustee Miller. Are there any further nominations for alternates for SAL? Are there any further nominations? I will ask a 3rd time. Trustee Edwards.
I'll self-nominate for alternate. Sal, thank you.
Thank you. I will ask a 3rd time, and if there are no further nominations, I will declare the nominations closed. Nominations are closed. Trustee Miller and Edwards will be alternates for SAL. I will now open nominations for the Parent Involvement Committee. There is one position for PIC. Trustee Brown?
Yep, I'm live.
I would like to nominate Trustee Arsenal.
Trustee Arsenal, will you accept the nomination?
Yes, I will.
Thank you. Trustee Cunningham?
Thank you. I'd like to nominate Stephen Linton.
Trustee Linton, will you accept the nomination?
I respectfully and humbly decline the nomination. Thank you, though.
Are there any further nominations? Are there any further nominations? I will ask a third time. Now the nominations are closed, and I'd like to congratulate Trustee Arsenal. I believe, although it's not indicated here, I believe there is one alternate for the PIC committee. So we're looking for nominations for the alternate for the Parent Involvement Committee. Trustee Miller.
I would like to self-nominate.
Thank you, Trustee Miller. Are there any further nominations? I think that was my second time asking, so I'll ask a third time, and if there are no further nominations, we'll declare the nominations closed. Nominations are closed. Congratulations to Trustee Miller, who is alternate for the PIC committee. I will now open nominations for the OPSPA members, voting for the voting representative for OPSPA first. I will take nominations. Trustee Morton?
I nominate Trustee Edwards.
Trustee Edwards, will you accept the nomination?
Yes.
Thank you. Are there any further nominations for the voting member for OPSPA? And I'll ask a third time. If there are no further nominations, we'll declare the nominations closed. Seeing none, congratulations, Trustee Edwards. You are acclaimed to the position of voting member of the Ontario Public School Board. I'm now looking for an alternate to the voting member for OPSPA. Trustee Morton?
I nominate Trustee Miller.
Thank you. Trustee Miller, will you accept the nomination?
I accept the nomination.
Thank you. Are there any further nominations for the position for alternate for OPSPA? And I'll ask a third time. And if there are no further nominations, I'll declare the nominations closed. Seeing none, the nominations are closed, and congratulations to Trustee Miller, who is acclaimed to the position of alternate for OPSPA. So we'd like to open the nominations now for 2 alternate members for OPSPA. Trustee Arsenal?
I would like to self-nominate.
Thank you, Trustee Arsenal. Are there any further nominations? For the 3rd time, I'll ask if there are any further nominations. Trustee Morton?
I will self-nominate.
Thank you, Trustee Morton. The nominations are now closed, and I will congratulate Trustee Arsenal and Morton as the 2 alternative members for OPSPA. Trustees, I'd like to draw your attention to item 14 on the agenda, the draft board and committee meeting dates for 2024. If there is no further business, I'd like to adjourn this meeting. All in favor? Opposed? Thank you.